So I don't even know if this video is gonna get posted or not, as I am just kind of doing it on a whim like that. It's not something I was planning. I'm also just walking to my house, just literally picked up the camera and decided to get recording. I initially wanted to do a few Instagram stories about it, but just decided why not turn that into a YouTube video. So yesterday was my birthday and I spent the entire day working. And if you had asked me that even last year, I would have probably been pissed. I would have probably been like, man, this is a bad birthday. Like I deserve to do something else than working on my birthday. Like, why should I work? Like, I would have probably had a negative reaction on it. And if I go back in time to February, there's a team member that is no longer working with us at the agency who essentially told me something that actually kind of shocked me. He was like, yeah, Justin, I'm not gonna be there next week on Monday because it's my birthday, and to be quite frankly with you, like, I'd rather not be here on my birthday than work at Wizo. And he said that like half laughing, and I was like, damn, like that guy's definitely far from being a fit for the team. A guy really, honestly, soon after parted ways with this team member, but that kind of shocked me. Like, I was thinking back about myself from the year prior, and I was like, did I even want to work on my birthday? And coming back to this year, the reason why I'm recording this video is because I chose to work. And that's the difference. I chose to work this year, and I could have done something else. Let me just remove the tripod actually and like just handheld this camera. So I could have done something else, to be honest, and I chose not to because truthfully there's nothing else I would have rather done during that day than to do the thing that I love. And I realized one thing, like having a great team is important not only for productivity but also for morale. I've had many different team members for years. I've had great team members, I've had not so great team members, I've had awful experiences, I've had amazing experiences, and right now I'd say confidently that the culture that we're now building within the team has been one of the biggest contributing factor to my well-being in regards to work. Because it's one thing to have a team that can produce, it's one thing to know that your team can actually execute and to do what they're tasked with, but it's also another thing to look forward to texting the team in the morning, to attending team calls, we have like a monthly happy hour at the agency where every single month like we meet together, have fun. It's actually today. There's just, to me, like having a fun team to be around with is so important. I had a talk with a good friend of mine who told me that with one of his mentors, told him that do the airport test. Like, you should think, would I sit with this person for hours waiting at the airport, like being stuck at the airport? Would I like to be with that person? I do think that there are roles within your business where you might not agree with that. You might be like, I probably wouldn't sit with that person at the airport. And that's okay. But a lot of the core positions, and especially in a startup where you probably only have, I would say when you have a team that is less than 10 people, everybody's like so close to each other that one bad apple will affect and contaminate the entire team. So with that said, that's been kind of a very big differentiating factor for me since I started paying more attention to culture, but also since I hired a team member in a management position that actually has an incentive to build a strong culture within the team. To be honest, this is a bit of an all over the place type of vlog because I'm just moving around the house. And again, this was not planned. I'm just kind of expressing some of the thoughts that just have come to mind in the last few days. And I also want to make an effort to build more in public moving forward, like to make more of these quote unquote scrappy videos where I'm not just like, it's not like a sit down, it doesn't have like a specific topic. I'm just kind of clearing my head. And yesterday, coming back to the birthday, I also took the time to kind of reflect on this last year and to think about where I'm going next. Because right now, in less than a week, I'll be moving into a whole new different place with my fiance. I've never lived with her so far. We've been together for almost 6 years at this point. So I know that's gonna be a big change. And I can also realize it, like when looking at her, just do things. Like, it's gonna sound weird, but just be feminine, just like putting music while cooking and dancing, like, and like dancing like there's no tomorrow. Or like singing loudly to a song, like I'm just in awe looking at that. Like, that is something that is so beautiful women are beautiful, man, and not just from a physical appearance, but also just from who they are deep down. And I think, to me, even so far, we have yet to move in together, but obviously we've been together for a very long time, and just looking at her sometimes is enough to motivate me to want to work, because I'm like, who wouldn't want to give out the world to that person? Like, who wouldn't want to be able to give out all the opportunities in the world to that person? And I think that the day I'm gonna have kids, it's probably gonna be the same thing with the kids, right? It's like, you're probably gonna look at your kids with how innocent they are and how beautiful their soul is, and you'll probably be like, man, like I would do anything, you know, for these people. So that's that. Like, this whole culture of people kind of hopping around. I'm in a space where a lot of the guys I either look up to or hang out with are like just, you know, chasing girls left and right, and I don't disagree with it, because I'm like, is this something that part of me has ever thought about, or is this something that I think works for some? Absolutely. But is this soul filling enough to carry you through life? Definitely not. Like, I think it's funny because a lot of the guys doing that, I think, are compensating for, yeah, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but what I was trying to say is a lot of those guys are very short-term minded, and that's what you have a lot of. There's this verse in the Bible that I read the other day, which was about like get-rich-quick schemes. I forgot, but it's in the Proverbs, and it's talking about how like get-rich-quick schemes will kind of make you fruitful in the short term, but in the long run, like, you'll lose all of that money somehow. And it's usually what ends up happening. Like, same thing with these relationships, you know? It's like a lot of these guys are building out businesses that are purely focusing on making money today. There's no there's no long-term nor medium-term thinking. It's all about making money now. And when you look into their personal life, they're also all about short-term pleasure. And this is the same guys that tell you to take a cold bath, to take a cold shower, you know, to go out and like live, you know, painfully and like stoicism, but they don't live by it. Like, you look through it. They have a short-term business focused on short-term cash flow, with a short-term mind of chasing girls left and right, with the short-term mind of like hedonistic pleasure now. And there's literally no outward thinking about it. And I know I'm probably gonna get comments, you know, in this video of people saying like, well, you know, you need to have fun. Like, dude, trust me. Like, I try to have fun. I do have fun. I try and play golf at least once or twice a week. Now I'm probably gonna get into boxing. I go to the gym like every single morning. For me, that, first of all, I come from a childhood where I was simultaneously playing hockey, soccer, and like basketball at the same time. Like, I literally played so many sports, and being active physically was fun for me. Like, that was my definition of fun when I was younger. My father really instilled that in, you know, within me, of playing around and like physically doing activity is what's fun. And maybe because I'm a guy also, like, I know it's something common, which is like, oh, well, you know, it's because you're a guy, like, you think physical activity is fun. You know, maybe yes, maybe no. Who cares? I'm just saying that, like, today, I've had this belief instilled in me when I was really young of how sport and physical activity is, yeah, pleasurable. So I think I'm really grateful for my parents for that, honestly, because I don't think without that, it's like good habits were deemed as fun from a very young age, which I think helped me a lot growing up, of associating sports with fun. So that in itself for me is having fun. I travel once every quarter or so, or maybe once every 2 quarters. I try to go a little bit more. Like, one of my commitments this year is to try and do a little bit more short trips. I already did one to New York, essentially to get engaged. I would love to squeeze in maybe 1 or 2 more by the end of the year, like more of these short-term trips to places I've never yet been in North America. Because again, I'm trying to travel to Europe, you know, to Africa. I'm like, I haven't even visited most of North America. Like, it's gonna sound weird, but I come from Canada. I've never been to like the more west than Niagara Falls. Like, I come from Montreal, Canada. I've never visited Toronto. I've never been to any of the provinces or territories for that matter, like west and north. So that's like a whole place I'd like to visit. All of the US, I literally visited 3 states, like the state of New York, the state of, well, New York, New Jersey, Florida, and Hawaii. So there's every other states in the US, which I've never been to. So yeah, I'd love to travel more this year and do that. So those are kind of all thoughts I'm having now that I've aged 1 more year, I guess, since yesterday. And my goal is not to become a better business owner anymore. And I think that was the goal since the start, but that goal led me to try to become a better man. And you guys may have seen some different style of content lately on the channel, especially on the shorts side of things, which is more lifestyle. It's more montages of like a 16-year-old me, you know, would thank me, or stuff like my 16-year-old self would be proud. To be honest, they would. Like, that's something that I can really proudly look back to and say, I used to be a very troubled kid and a very sad kid. Like, I'm telling you, I probably gonna make a whole video on that at some point, but my teenage years, like, I was just very, very lost, and I was trying to find myself in many different ways, and I was a very sad and angry kid, basically for a heap of reasons, but you know, family trouble, whatever. So yeah, like, for me to look back at that person who struggled, who had a bunch of questions about, like, what am I gonna amount to in life, who am I gonna be with, what am I gonna look like, why am I so skinny, why am I this, why am I that, why am I like a victim basically all the time, to now like taking control over my shit, like basically starting to do something with my life. It's crazy to me that, like, roughly at this point, 4 years ago I was working in a fish shop. Like, I was literally working selling fish. Like, I was getting these big ass salmons and like these huge heavy crates that were like way too heavy for me, and I was like opening up all the salmon, removing the scales from it, cutting it up in like fillets, and like selling that to people. Same thing with like lobsters also. I was like killing live lobsters. Like, dude, it was just the amount of things I did in that would, you know, be considered like quote unquote dirty work. It was just like, obviously it was a teen job, but still, it was like, dude, when all my friends back then were like clerks, you know, in a grocery store, or like associates in a sports store, or like my now fiance but then girlfriend was like working at a elderly care center as like a waitress, then she went as like a financial consultant. I'm like, yo, that's much more notable than me, who was selling fish. You know, that was like fucking dirty work. Like, I used to smell like shit after every, like, I remember sometimes I'd go and pick up my girlfriend like before taking a shower. Right out of work, she'd be like, fuck, like, you stink, you know? And like, it's like, I don't blame her. Like, I actually did. Like, I was, you know, I was in a stinky environment all day long, stinky and cold, and working like very physical. And to go from that to like going to Africa, going to Europe like 3 times in a span of a year, all 3 times to Spain. I guess I love Spain. It's just crazy to me. Like, sometimes I'm pissed. I'm like, yo, why am I not going like so far? Why am I not going faster? Why are we not progressing? And I look back at that, I'm like, yo, we've made a lot of changes in the last year. Some of these changes I just don't know of yet. I'll probably know in a month, in 2 months, in 6 months, in a year. I was listening to this video from Sam Ovens the other day, who said, today's results are not from yesterday's action, but from last year's. And that was like super interesting, where he was like saying about, we often look at a very short-term basis about why things are suddenly working. It's like suddenly good fortune comes about. It's like, what the fuck? I'm getting more clients or better client results or more sales or a better team culture. And you're like, yo, what have I done in these last few days to make that happen? Or maybe weeks or months. It's like, what happened in the last 3 months to make that happen today? But it's not last, you know, 3 months. It's not 6 months. It's like last year or two amounted to what you're doing today. And that's like super long term. I started the business with a very short term mind. So going back to the beginning of this video, I started with wanting to make money now. I honestly think that anybody starting with that mindset can make it work within about 6 to 12 months. Can you make money enough to live within 6 to 12 months? Absolutely. It's probably then going to take you 2 to 3 years to start making money to a point where you can afford most of the stuff that you truly want, like the materialistic side of things, like a very decent apartment size in a location that is like prime, a very good car, very nice travels, you know, once every 3 months or so. It's like you can live a pretty good life. And now I'm trying to transition from that to like next step. I can't say right now for a fact that I can just stop working, or it's not about stopping working. I really don't want to stop working. That's a thing I think also I had wrong for a lot of time. It's like, I posted a story the other day saying that I was chasing not feeling pain. Like, my goal was to feel not hedonistic, but I was trying to move away from pain. And I was like, look, success shouldn't be painful. I was like, if I really made it, I should not feel like that. I should feel like everything should be fine. There shouldn't be any issues within the business. Team members, everybody should be happy. All the clients should always be happy. We should have clients coming in all the time. And I was like, that was my definition of a successful business. In other words, it was a perfect business. But it's like, now that I've spoken to so many people that have financial success, a lot of them don't have poor team culture, or have very bad retention rate. And I'm not gonna name names, you know, but I spoke to like very big companies making millions of dollars that are dealing with also multiple millions in refunds. And that's crazy, you know, when you look at that, you're like, yeah, okay. It's like they're getting about 20 to 25%, you know, refund rate. You're like, fuck, that's big, you know, that's really big. And that's it. Like, one thing that I've learned in this industry so far with 3 years of experience, like of being in this space, is look under the cover. A lot of people, what they show online, what is behind is like much uglier than this. Like, there's an ugly truth that is hiding somewhere. On the flip side too, I've met so many people that are ghosts online, so humble and are like killing it. So you got to be careful about that. It's like, don't really look online, just look under that. And last thing I'm gonna say here is, or actually, before I even get to that, I just realized I haven't even finished my point. It was like, the goal is not to stop feeling pain, but it's rather to embrace the process. Like, I need to learn to love my days. It's like, I gotta construct my days in a way where I could keep up with the same schedule for years and it wouldn't pain me, because it's like, I love what I'm doing today. And that's more and more of what I'm trying to build right now. It's not to stop working. I want to keep working. I just want to work in a different way. It's like, I just want to work on different things. And I think the tweet I posted lately was like, if you keep up with the same level of pain all the time, but the pain doesn't change, then you're not progressing. If you keep up with a similar level of pain, or even increase in pain, but your pain is different, you're evolving, and that's good. That's the caveat. So with that point kind of being done, and kind of hopping on this last point, I've noticed that every single birthday for the last 3 years, there's been someone or more than one person that was new at my birthday party. I've got my core group of friends that I've been with for years now, but every year I'm meeting new people. And it's not because it just happens. A lot of the time I'm putting myself in situations where I can meet new people. I'm either joining a new mastermind or a new course. And when I do so, I try and speak to as many people as I can within that. Or I'll travel. And when traveling, this is where in the last 2 years, I've met countless people when traveling. Other things through content. I kid you not, I've now started at least 10 or so acquaintances or friendships from content, from people who wanted to collab, from people who just DM'd me from content, which I was like, hey, this is actually an interesting interesting person that I would love to connect with. It's crazy to see that when you start putting yourself out there and actively seeking connections, you will meet countless new people. And in the last year, you know, I've met a guy who literally found me through my content, DM'd me on Twitter, like 8 followers, black profile picture. I don't even know why I responded to that DM, to be honest. Like, I'm thinking back at it. I'm like, what the fuck did I respond to that DM? And the guy was like, yo, we should go eat like to a restaurant. I'm from Montreal. I'm like, yeah, sure, cool, let's do it. And then turns out, successful e-commerce brand owner. We've partnered on a couple deals now in the last year. I'm building a software with him. He's come to my birthday. Without him, I would have never gotten my fiance the ring of her dreams for the engagement. Like, he helped, he came in clutch with that. It's like, that would have never happened if I never put content. And that would have never happened if I never took the time to read any of my DMs or comments or like respond to people. Like, I try to respond to everyone. Sometimes it's long, but I try to respond to pretty much everyone. So, yeah, that's it. That's it for the banter of this kind of impromptu, or how do you say that? Basically, this non-planned vlog. I hope you maybe got a lesson or two in this very quick, I'm saying very quick, man, it's been like 20 minutes already that I've been recording this quick vlog. And let me know if you want to see more of these kind of just off the whim, off the cuff videos. Get a bigger perspective into my head and what goes on sometimes kind of in the background. You know, I was just finishing, it's a Thursday morning, I'm moving next week, so today I'm batch recording 3 videos, recording 3 more tomorrow. This is actually a 4th that was really not planned, but as I was sitting down writing an email, I just thought of picking up the camera and recording. So that's it. Check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.